G'day guys, my name's Tran and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. And in this lesson I'll be teaching you how to play New Light by John Mayer. Now for the basics of this song you'll need a guitar in standard tuning and you won't need a capo. Now if you want to master your chords back to front then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to take your guitar to the next level then be sure to check out Guitar Zero to Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course which teaches you fingerstyle, theory, scales, songwriting, and stuff you won't find here on YouTube. So moving on, I'll be teaching you all the rhythm in this song, but I'll also be teaching you the electric guitar solo as well. So let's start with the rhythm and the intro. So we have two lines of chords here, which is really nice and easy. We start with an A minor, then we go to a D, then we go to a G, and then to a C, and a C/B. So from our C chord to go to a C/B, we'll just lift our ring and middle finger, and your middle finger goes on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And we're playing from the 5th string onwards, that's C/B. And for the second line of chords, it's almost identical, except we don't have those last two chords. Now we have a really nice and easy strumming pattern that's used throughout the majority of the song, which just goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Or with timing, it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now one thing you can add here to give it a little more feel is to accent the strums on the 2 and the 4 beat. So by accent I mean that you just play them a bit harder and it will give the song a bit more drive. So for example with an A minor, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So you just play those strums a bit harder. Now each set of brackets up here in the annotations just means you're playing for one strumming pattern. So where we have C to C/B, that's within its own strumming pattern as well. Now the point at which you're going to change from the C to the C/B is on the 4 beat, which will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So just those last two strums, the down, up, is on that C/B. So in total the intro just sounds like this. And that last G is just held out once, we don't actually play that for our strumming pattern. So that's it for the intro, now we'll move on to the verse rhythm, which is super simple. Again, we have two lines of chords here. The first line of chords is exactly the same as what we learnt in the intro, except we're going to play this line through twice. And then for our second line of chords, we have A minor, D, G, and then our B7 chord like that. Now each chord in the second line is just played for one full strumming pattern, which is really nice and easy. So the verse will sound like this. Next we get to the chorus, which is super simple because we've already basically learnt it. It's the same chords that we had in the intro, except that first line is repeated through 3 times. And again for that last G in the second line of chords, we're just strumming it once and letting it ring out. So there's nothing new to learn there for the chorus. Next we get to the bridge rhythm. Now I'm going to teach you the simple way of playing it first and then the harder strumming pattern afterwards. So there's two lines of chords here which are really nice and easy. So we have the G and a G again, so for 2 strumming patterns. And then we have C and C again. And then E minor again. And then D and D again. So we can do that using our standard strumming pattern that we had earlier, which will sound like this. Now that works all well and good, but it doesn't have that same rhythm that's in the actual song. So for the harder way of playing this, we have a strumming pattern that goes like this. down, down, up, slap, up, down, down, like that. Now this is a little bit tricky because that slap is essentially a down strum, but it's in between the up motions, so your hand is just constantly moving up and down, but we do need to allow for our palm to come down to get that muted slap. You can also lift your fingers up off the chord as well to get more of a muted sound. So down, down, up, slap, up, down, down. So if we play that strumming pattern for each chord, it will sound like this. Down, down, up, slap, up, down, down. Down, down, up, slap, up, down, down. Now we can actually extend that strumming pattern out a little bit to give it a bit more feel. So in between those pauses, we can have just a muted down, up, down, down, up. So down, down, up, slap, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up. So all of that is muted at the end, down, up, down, down, up. They're all muted strums. And if we play that for each chord, it will sound like this. One handy tip when you're doing those muted strums at the end is that with your fretting hand, you just lightly rest your fingers over the top of all the strings so that you get that percussive muted sound. Next, we get to the solo rhythm, which just has two lines of chords here. So we have A minor, D, G, C, and C/B, similar to the rest of the song. And then our second line of chords is A minor, D, G, and then E minor. And we're returning back to our original strumming pattern there. Now that's it for the rhythm of the song, so really nice and easy. Now let's get into some of the lead guitar parts. Now let's get to the bridge riff, and it's perhaps one of the trickier parts of the song, but it's not 100% necessary, so you can kind of skip this and just play the rhythm if you wanted to instead. So to start this off, we're going to take our middle and ring finger and put on the 12th fret of the 3rd and 4th strings, and our index finger goes on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. Now we're going to be strumming this with a strumming pattern that's identical to what we had in the rhythm part for this bridge. So it goes down, down, up, slap, up, down, down. Now on the last up, down, down of the strumming pattern, we do want to take our ring finger and then bar it across the 12th fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. So it's down, down, up, slap, up, down, down. And a little bit faster will sound like this. Slap, up, down, down. Now that's the typical strumming pattern that we're going to have for the rest of this riff. The only thing that's going to change are the chord shapes we're playing. But if we want to extend out this strumming pattern and have it a little bit more funky, again we'll use a down, up, down, down, up, all muted within that bar. So it'll sound like this. Now we're going to repeat that particular bar twice, which sounds like this. And for our next bar, the rhythm is exactly the same, just our shapes are going to be different. So for this shape, we'll bar our index finger across the 10th fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Ring finger will just go on the 12th fret of the 3rd string. So that's our first position, and then we'll take our pinky finger and put it on the 12th fret of the 2nd string on that change, which sounds like this. For our third bar, this is perhaps a little tricky. We're going to play a shape that looks like this. So pinky on the 14th fret of the 4th string, middle on the 12th fret of the 3rd, and then index on the 10th fret of the 2nd, like that. So that's position 1 for this bar. In position 2, we just take our ring finger, put on the 14th fret, and index finger bars the 12th fret of the 3rd and 2nd. The third bar will sound like this. And finally, the fourth section is identical to the first section. Now that part is all a little tricky, so as I mentioned before, you can skip it and just play the chords instead, but I would suggest you give it a shot because it is really fun to play. And the last thing I'm going to teach you is the guitar solo. Now, in the playthrough, I'll be playing it with an electric, but I'll just teach you on acoustic for now. So to play this, we start on the 14th fret of the 3rd string with our ring finger, and then we go to the 12th fret of the 2nd string with our index, and middle goes onto the 13th fret, like that. So that's a 3-note run, like that. And then we have a 2-note run after this, which goes 14th fret of the 4th string, and 11th fret of the 3rd string. So that's our 2-note run. Then our next 2-note run is quite simple. It's the 12th fret of the 2nd string with our index finger, but after we hit it, we're going to do a slight bend really quick, like that. And then after our slight bend, we release and then hit the 12th fret like normal again. So that 2-note run. For our final chunk, we have 13th fret of the 2nd string, and then our ring finger goes onto the 14th fret of the 3rd string, and we're going to bend this up like that. Now you've got to bend it up to the pitch of the 16th fret. Now it's a little bit harder on acoustic, but you'll be able to do it easy as on an electric, like that. So we bend that up once and then twice, but we bend up and release back down to our note, and then end on the 12th fret of the 3rd string. So that run. For our second line of tab, we're starting with the same 3-note run that we had in the first line, which goes. And then for our next chunk, we're going to the 12th fret of the 4th string, hitting it and quickly hammer on to the 14th fret. And then go back to the 12th fret. So that chunk. For our final chunk of the solo, we go 14th fret of the 3rd string. We're going to bend this up and then release it back down. And then go down to the 12th fret. And then back to the 14th fret and bend up. And that's the end of the solo. And in total, the solo will sound like this. So now I'll be playing through the song in its entirety, and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. So feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice along to and see how you go. Thanks guys, hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to take your guitar to the next level, then be sure to check out Guitar Zero to Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. As always, hit that like button, hit subscribe, click the little notification bell as well so that you don't miss out on my updates. Please leave your thoughts, comments, questions, and requests down below, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.